I've been wanting to ask Rick for a long time now because he has so much information about sleep, and there's so much here, so much information for my readers. So we'll start with a few questions, Rick.
Sure.
One of the big ones we want to talk about is, so a lot of people have trouble sleeping. What are kind of just tips that they could start out with, small things they could do?
All right, we generally recommend sleep hygiene instructions. So this might sound a little funny, but for people that have trouble sleeping, we generally say the only things you should do in your bedroom are sleep, and the only exception to that would be sex. So no watching television, no reading, no eating in bed. So just try to continue to associate the bedroom with kind of rest and relaxation. Another thing we always tell people is reduce alcohol, caffeine, nicotine. Exercise in the morning or afternoon, and try to avoid intensive evening exercise for people that have trouble sleeping. So if you have no trouble sleeping whatsoever, you could kind of violate all of those rules. But for people that do have trouble sleeping, we try to tell people to be very strict in adhering to those instructions. Also, sleep restriction therapy, where we tell people to actually reduce the amount of time in bed. So a lot of people think that if they need 8 hours of good sleep, that they should maybe spend 10 hours in bed, and that way guarantee themselves, 8 hours out of 10 in bed. In fact, that's the worst thing you could do. It's the opposite of what should be done. So if you're having trouble sleeping, ideally you'd want to maybe go to bed a little later. Only go to bed when you're tired. Don't go to bed just because it says 11 p.m. on the clock. If you can't fall asleep within, say, 10 minutes, get up, leave the bedroom, physically leave, go do something relaxing, like watch a relaxing movie or read a novel in a different room, and get up at the same time every day. So if you're having trouble sleeping, maybe go to bed at midnight, get up at 6 instead of going to bed at 11, getting up at 7 first.
Really? Isn't that crazy? Because like we just hear all the time, like, oh, you should go to bed at a certain time, or 8 hours. Is the 8 hours of sleep like a thing that you have to have?
Well, most people would say 8 hours is the normal or the average, but there are long sleepers and there are short sleepers. So some people will only need 4 to 6 hours of sleep a night. Other people might need 8 to 10 hours a night of sleep. But the important thing is to pay attention to your body. You really need to only go to bed when you're tired, not because it's a certain time on the clock. And for example, 100 years ago, studies found that people slept on average about an hour longer in the wintertime because their bodies are more in tune with the natural duration of the night, the sun, cycles of the sun and the seasons, and how the nighttime varies with the seasons.
And if somebody has like issues sleeping, is there any supplement or any food that you recommend that they would take?
Yeah, anything that would increase tryptophan. So one of the first neurotransmitters discovered in 1947 is serotonin, which chemical name is 5-hydroxytryptophan, or 5-HT. So you can actually purchase 5-HTP, which is broken down into 5-HT. So anything that will increase tryptophan, like legumes, dairy, poultry, any meats, those things before bedtime will actually help it increase the amount of serotonin in the body. The other thing that you can use is take advantage of the natural circadian rhythm, or the body clock, which is slightly longer than 24 hours, and it tends to shorten as you get older. So it's really important that you eat your meals at the same time every day, get up at the same time every day, and you can actually purchase some mini bright light therapy, and you can use that within the first, say, 30 minutes or first hour of waking up in the morning, and expose yourself to this bright light. It's actually used in hospitals to treat seasonal affective disorder. It's also used to treat circadian rhythm disorders, and we use it to treat insomniacs, to actually lock in the body clock and take advantage of that natural body rhythm.
Cool. And so is there such thing as too much sleep?
Generally not too much, because the body will just wake up. I mean, if you're using an alarm clock, you're literally depriving yourself of sleep, and most people in North America at least certainly do that. So if you're waking up in the morning, say 5 minutes before your alarm clock, that's ideal. That means you're naturally waking up, you've got a locked-in body rhythm, your body's accustomed to waking up at that time of the day, and your body's saying, I've had enough sleep, okay, it's time to get up. But if you're waking up every day and the alarm clock's waking you up, that means you're literally depriving yourself of sleep. You're not getting enough sleep.
I've been taking Rick's advice ever since he told me, it seems like something so simple, but go to bed when you're tired. And, I've been doing that lately, and I think, it's working really well. It's just I always thought in my head, okay, I have to be in bed at a certain time. And no, I love that. How much impact is having a lot of fat, being very overweight, have with sleep?
Well, it's definitely correlated to a number of sleep disorders. For example, snoring and sleep apnea. So if you look at myself, I have sleep apnea. Not because I'm necessarily overweight, but because of the size of my upper airway. I have a narrow airway, so I have to be paying a lot of attention to my body fat, to how much weight I'm actually carrying. But you can get people who are overweight but not necessarily obese, and they will have sleep apnea or snoring. And think of snoring as like an alarm telling you that there's something wrong with your breathing during sleep. And in which case, it's kind of a first indicator that there's some type of sleep disordered breathing going on. So ideally during sleep there should be no snoring and of course no sleep apnea. So snoring would be the most mild form of sleep disordered breathing. And at the other end of the spectrum, the most severe type would be sleep apnea, where people literally stop breathing at night up to 100 times an hour. Their blood oxygen levels plummet to levels that were at once thought to be incompatible with life. And literally it's long-term partial sleep deprivation. So these people are literally waking up hundreds of times a night. They don't know what's going on. Their blood pressure shoots sky high. You can have cardiac arrhythmias like atrial fibrillation linked to sleep apnea. Sleep apnea often being the underlying cause and a predisposing factor to it. Even diabetes. If you treat sleep apnea, you can actually improve the treatment of diabetes as well. So the whole body works as a system. And you spend 1/3 of your life asleep, and we know for a fact that there's an increase in growth hormone secretion during deep sleep. It's important for also for memory consolidation. So REM sleep is a stage of sleep that most of us are familiar with, and that's important for memory consolidation, both animal studies and human research. But deep sleep, which occurs in the first half of the night when you're asleep, is very important for increased growth hormone secretion, even protein synthesis in the brain.
Yeah, and we have a lot of business people that train here, like and what would they do? A lot of them deal with stress day to day. They can't turn their brains off. They want to go to bed, and their brain is still going. What should they do?
Well, for myself, the best advice I have is definitely exercise, reduce daytime stress. Have a wind down routine before bed. Don't take the laptop into the bedroom. Certainly, you need to have a period of relaxation. If that's the gym, that's fantastic. And do things that relax and wind down before bedtime, so you can actually get into a situation where you're calm, and that's what you need to do to have a good night's sleep.
Cool. Because we know, we talk a lot about fitness, about building muscle, losing body fat. The recovery of things we don't talk about very often. People don't put tons of attention to it, but they go hand in hand. You need to recover, and a lot of the muscle building is happening when you're sleeping.
Absolutely.
So I think this is a topic that's very super important, just not talked about enough.
Yeah, there's actually over 90 different sleep disorders that are recognized by the American Academy of Sleep Medicine. So when we talk about apnea, snoring, insomnia, those are only 3.
Wow. So what is so let's say everyone's doing, they're trying to take all your advice that you just did, but still, they're still snoring. They're still. Is there anywhere they should go? Is there anything they should do?
Yeah, certainly talk to your family doctor. You can ask for a referral to a sleep disorder center, and you can also even speak with your dentist about it. Because a lot of dentists will actually be able to identify, for example, wear and tear in the teeth, or bruxism, teeth grinding, is often an indicator of problems with the airway during sleep.
Wow. Great information, guys. Take this, and thanks so much, Rick.
You're welcome.
Okay.